may become yet additional factor. We must ensure that the aggressor does not even consider crossing NATO's borders and testing the effectiveness of Article 5. Therefore, at the NATO summit in Vilnius, we must move forward with the implementation of the decisions taken in Madrid on strengthening deterrence and defense, and approve new regional defense plans that are of existential importance to us. For the Baltic region and the entire eastern flank, air and missile defense and an increased presence of allied forces on the territories of our countries are critically important. Effective deterrence and forward defense are our top priorities. I look forward to welcoming another new member of the alliance, Sweden, in Vilnius. Its membership would significantly strengthen not only the security of the Baltic region, but also the security of the entire Euro-Atlantic area. At the Vilnius summit, we must agree on a 2% GDP floor for defense spending. The security situation clearly indicates the need to strengthen our defense so that we can feel secure ourselves and help our partners to defend themselves against an aggressor. This is an investment in our secure and peaceful future. The future of Ukraine-NATO relations and responding to Ukraine's Euro-Atlantic aspirations will undoubtedly be one of the most important topics in Vilnius. We must clearly state at the Vilnius summit that Ukraine will become a NATO member as soon as possible. We must find solutions on how to bring Ukraine closer to NATO membership and agree on a clear path towards accession. Ukraine is part of the transatlantic security architecture. Therefore, our relations must be expanded and clearly defined. Jens, I personally would like to thank you for your strong stance on Russia's war in Ukraine and for your active role in mobilizing allied support for Ukraine. Today, I presented the Grand Cross of the Order of the Cross of Visą to NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg for his special merits in strengthening the security and defense of Lithuania, the Baltic region, and the eastern flank of NATO, as well as for his personal contribution to fostering the transatlantic bond. Thank you, Jens, for being a true and loyal friend of Lithuania. Thank you for your visit, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Jens Stoltenberg, the floor is...
Thank you so much for the warm welcome and for awarding me the Order of the Cross of Visą. This is really a great honor. Thank you so much. And also many thanks to you, the government, and the people of Lithuania for hosting the NATO summit here in Vilnius next month. When allied leaders meet in 2 weeks, we will take decisions to address the most challenging security environment in decades. And we just had a productive meeting to discuss the final preparations for the summit. At the same time, we are monitoring the situation in Russia. The events over the weekend are an internal Russian matter, and yet another demonstration of the big strategic mistake that President Putin made with his legal annexation of Crimea and the war against Ukraine. As Russia continues its assault, it is even more important to continue our support to Ukraine. Ukrainians have launched a counteroffensive to retake occupied land. And the more land they are able to liberate, and the stronger their hand will eventually be at the negotiating table to achieve a just and lasting peace. I commend Lithuania for providing vital military equipment and training for Ukraine. At the Vilnius summit, we will agree a multi-year package of assistance, and we will upgrade our political ties. The decisions we will take will bring Ukraine closer to our alliance, because Ukraine's rightful place is in NATO. All allies agree that NATO's door remains open. that Ukraine will become a member, and that it is for allies and Ukraine to decide. Russia does not have a veto. And once the war ends, we must put arrangements in place for Ukraine's security, so that history does not repeat itself. We're also monitoring the situation in Belarus. We condemn Russia's announcement about deploying nuclear weapons. This is reckless and irresponsible. We don't see any indication that Russia is preparing to use nuclear weapons, but NATO remains vigilant. If Russia thinks it can intimidate us from supporting Ukraine, it will fail. We stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes. Our deterrence is strong. To keep our people safe in a more dangerous world, at the summit we will take further steps with new regional plans, and the forces, exercises and capabilities assigned to these plans. Over 300,000 troops on higher readiness, backed by substantial air and maritime capabilities. We've also agreed a new rotational model for air and missile defense to allow for swift transition from air policing to air defense. The accession of Finland and soon Sweden to NATO significantly enhances the security in the Baltic Sea region. And today we will attend together exercise Griffin Storm, which will test reinforcing the German-led NATO battle group up to brigade size, sending a clear message: NATO is ready to defend every inch of Allied territory. We must continue to invest in our security. At the summit, we will agree on a more ambitious defense investment pledge with 2% of GDP as the floor, not the ceiling. Lithuania is already leading by example, committing 2.5% of GDP to defense. So, President, thank you again for Lithuania's many contributions to NATO. I look forward to the successful summit in Vilnius.
Thank you, and I wish everybody to have a nice day.